All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning from wherever in the world you're all joining us from. Welcome to today's virtual fireside chat. We're excited to have you all join us today for episode 9, where we'll dig into the intriguing world of product roadmaps, its best practices, and techniques. So today we are honored to have Olaoluwa Onifade with us. Olaoluwa is a senior product manager with a wealth of experience and understanding that promises to make this section truly enriching. Olaoluwa, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Without further ado, I will hand it over to our wonderful host, Muideen, who is also a senior product manager at Be Free, to take us through today's session. Muideen, floor is yours now. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Pat. Like Pat would say, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, from everywhere that you are in the world, and welcome to another episode. Here, our main focus is to bring possible headaches for product managers and bring a suitable person to come answer your questions, walk us through how they are able to handle it, and pass the knowledge to every possible person out there that is willing to get their problem solved. At ProBar, we train product managers, regardless of the level that you are, whether you're a senior person looking into moving into strategy, even if you want to become a CPO. We have different classes that suits your cases, basically. Today, our guest for today is Olaoluwa Onifade. Olaoluwa Onifade is a seasoned product manager, a senior one, and he's also a founder. It's a thing that I'm looking forward to ask question about that. Maybe why we are taking this session. Thank you, Olaoluwa. Thank you for joining us. Can you do a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so great to be here. Thank you guys for joining. Happy to be doing this session today. My name is Olaoluwa. People call me Laulu for the most part. I've been in technology for about 6-7 years now. Worked with various industries, including like logistics. I've done rideshare myself. I've helped to build in fintech. I also have a bit of experience with like growth. So a lot of my experience has went from me starting with like marketing, then I went to growth, then I went to majorly like product itself. So sort of have an experience. So I sort of like try to give a hand from helping to build the product to how do we go to market to getting user feedback that would help you iterate the process. So yeah, I'm just excited to be here and be speaking about roadmaps, best practices today. And hoping to learn from everyone else as possible and answer any questions that may come up. Thank you. Should I begin?
You mean hoping to help us learn? Before we begin, I would like to ask some questions basically about yourself. How is it like being a CEO? There is one thing about product managers, how we sort of like prioritize products, and like being a CEO means you have to prioritize the product and the people, right? How is it like for you?
Well, you might have sort of like oversimplified it because like as a CEO, you're actually balancing your people, you're balancing product needs, you're balancing customers, you're balancing investors, you're balancing pretty much every other stakeholder that is in the business. So whilst you might understand why you're not shipping fast, you also have to ship fast. While you might understand why growth takes a ladder, you need to actually grow. While you might understand that we're not building for revenue, we're building for just like initial growth, you need to make money. Um, it's sort of like a very complicated thing to answer, but I try to sort of balance it out. Um, I try to sort of put some context into things. So again, planning for your next 12 months is probably the best way that I do. I like to know, for example, what we're doing for the next 12 months has to do with a lot of documentation and research. So I try not to make any decisions out of my head because you could start building something that as just like as a founder, you just think, oh, this is gonna be nice to build. And now you've sort of like disrupted the whole roadmap that you might have created. And or just because investors are asking for it, or maybe because you spoke to one customer and the customer says, oh, I think this would be a nice add-on. Then you get to the office the next day, you're saying everyone, let's change our roadmap and all of that. So I try not to be that person because just because of my experience, I listen to everyone. So I think, okay, so should we build this? Why do we think we should build this? There's proper documentation from let's speak to more customers before we're making our decisions on this is why we should build this. At what point, what should we optimize for? What should we focus on at every point in time? So yeah, that's sort of like a way for me to balance things out, as well as also focusing on the majors. So for the next 12 months, I would focus on the major of okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to focus on like product building? Do we want to focus on optimizing to make money, revenue? And if whatever we decide would determine what we focus on building. So, for example, if a particular customer or if a segment of customers the one giving us our next revenue or is the biggest paying customer, then obviously our features will be tailored to those kind of customers, right? And making that decision comes with a lot of data and speaking to your customers a lot. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And thank you for that. Right. I mean, one of like the major guys that tend to affect your roadmap today are the CEOs, right? And because like they got one other idea from the boards or from the investors, or they just feel like this is what another product founder is doing, then we should add this into it, and it's just like make you guys have another have to look into the roadmap and create another deadline because you have to build that feature. It's a good thing that you also don't want to be that, right?
Right.
Yeah, hold on. Thanks. So yeah, I mean, going to today's discussion, I mean, it's a good thing that we have you here because you've been in the place of making sure that you have a good roadmap and also making sure that you manage people that can actually affect your roadmap, right? So yeah, I mean, what makes a great roadmap? I mean, what are the things that should be in a roadmap that makes it a great one, right? That makes it, I mean, those secret spices in writing a roadmap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I guess I can begin now, right? Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. All right, cool. All right, thank you guys. Please pay more attention to what I say because this design I tailor it in a way whereby it'll be more of me speaking than the actual design. Anyway, yeah, product roadmap, success, and best practices. I guess everyone understands what a roadmap is. Essentially, it helps you with sprint planning, creating a roadmap to what your features down the line would be. And I guess what I'll be talking more about today is more or less what to prioritize and how to structure out your roadmap to enable you for growth. right? Because the reason why anyone is creating any roadmap is either you want to significantly increase the engagement of users on your platform, or you're looking to significantly increase revenue. I'll be speaking more to the agile methodology because I just think like most product managers stick with the agile. I don't think anybody probably uses any other form because of sprint planning. You have to like keep doing iteration. So I was speaking more to that today. Yeah, so let's just dig right into it. Trying to okay, yeah, my laptop is hanging. So uh,
We actually can see it. You can just scroll back a bit.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, yeah, okay. So introduction, setting the stage for roadmap success. I think the very primary part of even saying you want to create a roadmap for something is to first get a sense of what your product is solving. I think like a very essential part to even saying this is what we want to do for the next 10, 12 months or the next 5 sprints is essentially being able to narrow down what your product description is, what problems are you solving, and what segments are your customers. So I mean at that point you start to think about, okay, are we serving like a B2B customer base? Are we serving like a B2C customer base? And even in B2B customer, if you say, okay, if you narrow your business line to, okay, we're serving B2B, you also have not to be confused about what types of, because there are different types of B2B. There's the corporate B2B, there's the B2B where it's meant to small businesses, there's a part where it's meant to small businesses and corporates. And it's very easy to get distracted with, okay, our first customers or the people we can first reach are small businesses. Then you start building to tailor your sort of like solution for small businesses, whereas the type of business or the type of product that you have, it would be better to go acquire sort of more corporate users. So give you an example. Now, if you were building like a fintech bank, for example, like a fintech that was B2B fintech, right? For example, Braz. I'm gonna use Braz as an example. Think of you building Braz at the early stage and just you as maybe the product manager or the product owner or even the CEO at the early stage. Maybe you guys have an early part of the product, so your product can see balance, see ledger balance, do transfers, receive money, do payments, all of that. Now, you have the tax to think about what would your next 12 months look like? Because at the moment now, you have a mix of like small businesses. Let's say you have hypothetical numbers now. Let's say you have like 10 small businesses, but you have like 2 corporate businesses that are using your platform at the moment. It's very easy to get distracted on the fact that, okay, because we have 10 small businesses using the product today, let's go and ship what maybe POS, for example, right? Whereas what you should do is ship payroll, right? Because you could have 10 small businesses that are doing minus numbers, but you could have 2 corporate businesses that have over 10,000 staff, right? So there is a lot of balancing and data measures. A big part of building products is making bets on, okay, that's why I spoke about the product description. Where are you guys now? What kind of products do you tend to be? It's very vague when you try to think of your product as, oh, we're building for everybody. Most people, once you're a founder or like you're a product person and you say, oh, our product is for everybody. Even Facebook is not for everybody. Instagram is not for everybody. What other generic platforms that everybody use? Even WhatsApp. If you go and check WhatsApp's pitch deck, I'm sure they didn't do it for everybody. You have to sort of narrow the type of users that you have, because again, in terms of growing, the types of users that you have will determine what your growth strategies will be. And your roadmap is a big part of your growth strategy long term, especially for product-led businesses, right? So yeah, the type of users that you have on your platform really determine what your product roadmap should be. And never make the mistake of deciding what your product roadmap should be based on what you think, because you'll be setting yourself up for a lot of iterations. That's why you hear, oh, we've pivoted to this, we've pivoted to that. The only best data to help you sort of get a glimpse of what to build next is your customers, right? And I always have this saying when I'm like speaking to people, follow the money, right? And in a world whereby currently there is a lot of downturn with like startups building, investors are more focused on businesses that are bringing cash flow, whereas some years back, VCs were focused on like crazy growth. So you don't even need to be making money. Like at the time, if you had this amount of users and say your pre-revenue, this is want to put money because you're growing, which means your valuation will keep going up. But now, because like funding is more stringent, more VCs are looking at businesses that can scale. So yeah, essentially, I would say everyone should follow the money. Following the money helps you, because if a customer can remove money from their pockets to pay for a particular feature you built, to pay for your product, it means you're essentially helping them to solve a solution that they care about. They're helping them to solve a problem that you care about, right? And I think that should be what everyone uses as the face to build out their roadmap. So the worst type of practice is to follow, like in quotes, I think they say this on Twitter, an organ-led products roadmap. You know, it's just the boss or the CEO that decides what your roadmap should be. You just say, okay, I mean, I've worked somewhere whereby we're building an MVP for a product, and the owner of the product at the time was like, oh, we're building a business bank, we have to ship for supermarkets. So we had to do like anywhere whereby in MVP, we're building for different branches. In MVP, we're building POS. In MVP, we're building payroll. In MVP, we're building invoices. So we had taken the product was not out, by the way. 24 months, they had spent a lot of money on the product. Product was not out because the CEO just see, oh, these guys just raised. They have these features. Let's go put this in. Whereas you don't even have your own users. So that's why you in creating product roadmaps, you essentially have to be able to tell what your early customers are and be able to decide what your next features should be. Right? Trying to move to the next one. Yeah. So your product roadmap needs to be customer focused, right? Essentially, if you were building again a business bank, for example, and in the long term, you think like our goal is to be a business bank, but we essentially want to focus on a type of customers. You could even say we're building a business bank, but we essentially want to build for governments, possibly, right? Maybe, I mean, how commercial banks used to grow their days is, you partner with the government and, everybody that is working under the government. So everybody go open Access Bank because that's where we pay salaries and that's the method to grow. And that's but like, yeah, you essentially have to first describe where exactly you want your product to be. then from your customers, you need to be very obsessed with your customers and speak to customers, because that's a very important thing in the early days. Early days of Airbnb, early days of Stripe, early days of any sort of global product that you think about today. One thing they were very, very obsessed about was speaking to their customers, because your customers are the ones that would pay. Like, imagine I was using a payroll product, for example, and as a payroll product, you think that your next feature should be how I should pay tax. But what if the next feature you should put there is maybe you helping me to store money? Maybe I want to separate my payroll cash flow from like my bank. Maybe that is what I need. And I'm the one giving you money. I'm paying for the services. I'm paying a subscription, right? You would only have that information when you speak to your customers, not when you say, this guy, I think the next thing you need is you need to pay tax. I need to make an integration with the government that will make you pay tax very well, like easier, right? And the problem with doing that is there might be another simpler way the person is doing it that doesn't want to complicate processes. Now, this is speaking to in the term of, or when you're bidding for B2B. This also applies to very much to B2C, because the Oga-led example I can give you is, maybe Elon Musk telling his team members to go and ship call into Twitter. Why? Why shipping call to Twitter? We already no one wants to call on Twitter. No, I doubt anyone wants to use that feature, right? Whereas maybe what we need is even like, getting fleets back to Twitter as a feature. But yeah, speaking to your customers is very important. Whether at the early days or not at the early days. Instagram still sends me user research questions. LinkedIn paid me $30 some months ago to give a review, or to tell them, like, sort of essentially just telling them what to do next. They wanted to get like a review of what their features, if I was happy, blah blah blah. I gave a review, I got $30. That's to show you how much they really care about what their customers are saying. So essentially they cared about their cost. They cared about my opinion to want to pay me $30 to get that information. Of course, we're going to house to get feedback, to iterate. In the early days, they their host house pictures. The only way you get that sort of experience. Okay, so before they even started taking pictures, there was a point at Airbnb whereby hosts were uploading pictures, and guess what? The reason why they were not growing was because the pictures that were being taken with the hosts were not good enough to sell. Right now, what did they do? Because they had spoken to the customers or the people that were using the product, or just essentially just realizing that, oh, this could be better. What did they do? They went to get a friend that was a professional photographer to go to host house to sort of take pictures of the houses and upload it. Now, if you go to Airbnb today, Airbnb has one of the best websites. If you go there, right, if you're looking at it, if you go there right now, Airbnb's website is so clean. And that is something they focused on. Now, imagine in those days or in their early days, that wasn't something they had spoken to their customers about. They might have been, there are so many housing platforms today that exist, but no one has over 3 billion market share capital in the exchange today, right? So obsessing about your customers should be the only ones to decide what your product roadmap should be, because they're the only ones giving you money, and they're the only ones that should tell and make that decision of this is what we need next, being able to like grow your customers. Yeah. So visualization in today's paced world, creating a visual engaging roadmap presents crucial, captivating, yeah. So in creating a roadmap, you should have sort of like a product road bank, right? This essentially helps you guide what your roadmap should be. So here you can say, for example, if you're building a fintech bank, say Our next thing should be payroll. Our next thing should be invoice. Our next thing should be, what else can you ship? A dollar wallet. Our next thing should be ledger. Our next thing should be, what else can you build into your bank? Our next thing should be post payments, whatever it is. That business bank, make it add all the crazy ideas you think you want. In fact, if you want to put messaging into a business bank, add it there, right? From there, you're able to decide. Speaking to customers, you're able to say, okay, these are the sort of things that we need, and this you try to sort of like test their mouth. So when you're creating, like, never ask a customer, because customers also can be crazy, users can be crazy. Never ask a user what should we do. Ask a user, oh, how do you solve the problem of invoicing today? And they tell you how they solve the problem. Then ask them, how would you feel if you could do this directly from the platform? It gives you a more detailed feedback. Because if you ask customers, oh, what do you think we should ship? Well, I think you should ship payroll. I think you should. They don't know the size of your engineering team. I think you should payroll. I think you should invoicing. It'd be nice if I can register my business from the app. It's nice, like, if you let customers be the one to decide that, just on the forefront like that, you get to a point whereby maybe you only spoke to 3 customers, and maybe the next set of customers, the only thing they care about is just getting a dollar wallet, and that can significantly help you grow over 30% in 4 months. Speaking to your customers and the way you speak to your customers really determine on how much you should ship in, like, your roadmap. And of course, like, just in designing your roadmap, it should be in a way whereby it looks good, right? A way you could use FigJam, whereby you trace it. Okay, payroll is linked to ledger, and this is why payroll should be the next thing we build. Not just like a full documentation that is down. Try to see, why should we build, for example, if someone in your team said, oh, let's build a chat feature into our bank so that people can chat with your customers. How does a chat feature get into the parts where you go with the balance? Create that in a graph way so that you're sort of able to link it to everything that you're doing from the beginning. So from the beginning, if you started with, oh, we're making transfers, pay bills, pay this, your roadmap is a big part of your growth process. So if you start to build features that go outside what your essential focus or base is, you will start to lose focus, and you will start to get to a point whereby you're not building for your customers. Your customers are not happy with things you've shipped, and it just will not work out well. Yeah, so another thing that you need to be able to do is embrace flexibility in planning. Just because you have spoken to 10 customers in the last 3 months and you've created your roadmap is, this is what we ship for the next 12 months. Because you're following an agile style, which is like different iteration, different customer feedback. You could have grown in the past, from January to now, you could have grown. Your customer base is different. You're speaking to new customers. They're saying this is what we need. Again, the only people that can be able to decide, maybe, so I think recently, government made it compulsory for every fintech that is operating the license, and was serving small businesses to essentially own it should be registered. Essentially, they need to be registered. And imagine a point whereby you're shipping dollar wallets, but government said you should register. But you don't need your customers to leave your platform. You need them to also be on the platform. And this would definitely tank your platform, because once regulators start to look at your platform and say, oh, this person's not registered, this one's not here, you got to block people's accounts. This tanks on your user base, and it begins to affect you. You need to be able to make that flexibility in terms of, we spoke with customers want to be able to register. I know that this is what we did not do before. Maybe you need to do some sort of restructuring. Very, very important. Never follow a very strict form, because market changes, regulations changes, people change, whatever can make you think of flexibility can change in the market, and you might need to restructure. Also, things can get outdated. And by the time you created that roadmap, and just speaking to your customers again helps you create that value line. Yeah, so based on everything we're speaking about, definitely try to monitor progress and data. If customers are saying, this is what we use the most, you need to be able to back it up with, okay, this is the feature I use the most, whether by your any Google Analytics or any analytics tool you use in your company. Being able to say, where is the money coming out from? If you have a very wide, for example, if you're a product manager or if you're a lead product person at, for example, Zoe, for example, and you have new Nigerian companies coming to use your platform, you need to be able to say, what sort of products are these new Nigerian companies using? Where are they, even if they pay full suit amounts, you need to be able to say, okay, what exactly are they paying for? Because a lot of people I know today, they might pay the whole suits, but maybe they only use 3-4 products. Some people are only using 2. You need to be able to decide, okay, why exactly are these new people that are coming to Zoho not using Zoho? Is it the user experience? Maybe it's the user experience, to be honest, but you need to be able to decide that showing data from the analytics tools of, okay, this company registered at this time. This company has paid for the whole tools, but is only using 3 tools. Is it because they don't need this? Is it because they don't like this? Why have they chosen to not use all these other products? Is it because they're a small business? So following the data, following the progress, following the money is very important in like creating a roadmap. Said helps you to stay on track and like, you know, correct any thing that needs to be corrected. And yeah, again, from your customers, the success stories. Oh, we love that you guys have shipped product payroll. So how is this payroll that we just shipped? How is it helping your business, right? Shala from Paystack will tell you that, oh, this has transformed all our visions to reality. Melissa from Stripe says this is empowering our team for success. I know that David will tell you that, oh, this driving innovation, this helps us to plan better. Getting all these customer stories help you shape how you're thinking about the payroll. So this payroll we've built, is there more that can be built? Just from the feedback that you get and the data structuring that you get from the customers that are using your products, you're able to make all those decisions. And yeah, essentially, the customer is a very major part of your stakeholder process. CEO is a very big part of that, but the most people that should be able to decide what your product roadmap, whether it's a 5-month sprint, whether it's a 12-month sprint, are your customers. Be very focused about your customers. Any company that is product led and isn't listening to customers is setting themselves up for failure. Yeah, align whatever you're building with what the company goals are. If company goals are being to derail from what the customers are asking for, you need to realign that so you don't get confused. So the vision stays the same. Pretty much. Thank you guys very much. Any questions?
Yeah, I love how you've taken care of everything. I mean, starting from, you need to understand that you're building the products for the customers, and I mean, they have to be like your first thing to think about when during the roadmap. What is my data like? What do I think they would like? What should I build next? What are they asking for? And not necessarily things that it's coming from whether the CEO, because it just felt like a competitor just did something, then we should be doing that. And our data is saying something different, right? Or I mean, from the look of what the future should look like, one is depending on the other. If you go build this first, meaning this cannot be completely functional until you build the other one, right? And I mean, it's the job of the product manager to make sure that these stuff like these are aligned and they are built in the very way they should be built, or we might be having, building a shitty UX, right? And
Yeah.
thank you so much for this. I don't know if anybody has a question. I'm sure this is very, very explanatory. Before we go, I mean, uh, did you like have any um, roadmap tools that anybody can use? Say, um, any tools that you currently use at the moment that's super easy for any product manager or company guys to use when they are building their.
You could always use Notion to, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, you could always use Notion. I'm a big fan of Notion to structure out what your roadmap process could look like. Use Notion, and for something visual that helps you connect graph, you can always use FigJam. I use FigJam and Notion a lot, and sometimes I've used Trello in the past in a way to sort of plan your sprints. That would be very helpful. But essentially, I use road because I like to document a lot because there needs to be a why from every product decision that you're making. So using Notion to draft all of this to make your decision and create that road. Essentially, Notion for the documentation of the roadmap, FigJam for the visualization of how everything connects. So yeah, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, I love that. I use Notion sometimes too. I've used Miro too, and I'm not
Okay.
familiar with FigJam. I just leave anything feedback to to my
Okay.
designer. So and
Yes.
I've used Jira too. I think Jira is also like a very easy peasy one. They have like a template that you can just input, and they help you like connect to the sprint, and it also helps
Yeah.
you to know what to build next and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, so much. Anyways, when I was asking the question, I was going to say Notion too, because it's like
Okay. I've used Jira too before. Sometimes at some points. But I'm yeah, but I'm very comfortable with these other ones. Like they are my go-to, especially for like personal implementation, So that's why I mentioned them particularly.
hold on.
Yeah.
I think you should get a Starlink, right? That's like a customer. But
Get a Starlink.
I'm joking,
Uh,
actually.
I think my my laptop died, so I had to join again on my phone. That's why.
Actually, that's just a spite. To be honest. I
Yeah.
remember I was on the call and I was like, you should go get the Starlink. Then the next minute, my network went down. And the person was like, are you
Yeah. Yeah.
Starlink? Yeah. Thank you so much.
I use
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to ask something?
All right. No. I was gonna say I use an MTN 5G, but like you can't really trust these guys. So
Yeah, I
anyway,
had like it's also a fantastic product. Broad-based, it's not very good actually. I've seen somebody show it on something Mbps before on it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it fluctuates. That's
yeah, yeah. Thank you for this. I mean, you've given us everything we need to know about road mapping. It's more like everything about product management. You just need to think about the customer, right? I usually say this every time. Whatever that you're doing at any point in product management, and the customer is not right, then you're going to do the shit you're doing. Um, yeah, thank you, Laulu, and um, thank you for sharing all your, invaluable insights and experiences with us today. It's very, really grateful that you spend your time. share your expertise with us. And yeah, so our incredible listeners, thank you so much for joining every episode, right? If you really want to learn more about product management, you should reach out to Patricia or check us on IG or LinkedIn. We have class going on for every of the stage that you think you are in product management. Even if you are confused when you join the community, can always try out the question at somebody that has experience that have done it before, like Olaolu and other guys that we have in the community, always respond to your questions. Thank you so much for you guys. Thank you for always joining. And the let's make the product management community a continuous and evolving landscape. And like I used to say, um, thank you so much for joining. And until the next time, keep innovating, keep learning, and keep being passionate about the world of product management. Yeah, this is me signing off.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Olaoluwa, for sharing your deep knowledge as well. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder to everyone, ProBar has a YouTube page. Make sure to check it out. Hit the subscribe button and share with your friends and fellow PMs. Today's video will be up soon, guys. So stay tuned for more awesome content and updates. A big thank you to Muhyiddin, our host, as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And to everyone who joined us from around the world, thank you so much for joining. I hope we found this episode informative and inspiring as well. Stay tuned for our next virtual fireside chat, episode 10, coming up soon. Until then, take care, everyone. Stay connected with ProBar. Bye, everyone.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.